And welcome to this edition of Mid-South Viewpoint. Hi, I'm Byron Tyler. Glad to have you along today as we welcome a longtime friend of mine, Sean Abram, and really a special treat today. He brought his wife, Mary.
Amen.
Really is the best part of the Abram home.
That's right.
And the best kept
agree.
secret. I mean, she's the engine behind what keeps this thing running.
Yes.
And Mary, it's good to have you on too.
Thank you very much for having me.
Got something exciting to talk about. Before we do, Sean, you and I first met when you were a student in seminary.
Yes.
And of course, I think you grew up in Memphis. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I grew up in South Haven, Mississippi, so in the Mid-South area.
Okay.
And moved to Memphis about 10 years ago. But Mary, she was born and raised until about the 6th grade in Memphis.
Yeah, I was lived in the Parkway Village area until I was 11, and our parents moved to South Haven, and that's the same year I met Sean. We were 11 years old when we met.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
They moved because her sister saw someone shot, was right next to her while she was at school. So that's why they moved out of the community down to South Haven.
Yeah, my parents were just, trying to move to a better neighborhood, which a lot of people do.
When you were in Parkway Village area, of course, when I was a kid, that was like the place to go. I mean, Sundays, Al's Golf Haven was the hangout. Was Al's there when you were?
I don't remember it being there anymore. So it was the 80s into the early 90s that I was there. And I don't remember it being there at all.
Okay. Well, yeah, that had already been taken down because I guess that was right before they started building the big mall of Memphis.
Yeah.
They got that property.
That going on. Yeah.
Did you ever ice skate over there?
We did.
You did?
Yeah,
okay.
We did the ice skating. And then there's the Piggly Wiggly there on Perkins that I remember a lot. And, we would just.
Where did you go to church out there too?
Well, actually, I grew up in a Catholic home, and church involved going on Easter and Christmas for us. It wasn't really a major part of my life.
Well, where was this turning point for you, Mary, when you discovered what Christ personally did for you on the cross and how you identified with what he did for you?
Well, being with Sean, we got together when we were 18, and when Sean was 21, that's when he accepted the Lord and was saved, and I just saw radical transformation through his life, and that was something that I supported, but also kept a distance from because it was something I wasn't used to growing up.
We were together 3 years by then.
Right.
So,
okay.
We got together at 18. So
you were both 11 years old when you first met.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So I got to know this, Mary. What was, when you first saw, what were you guys doing? I mean, where were you at when you first saw Sean?
I remember Sean on the playground in 6th grade at our elementary school. So we were just together out there during recess.
Okay. So was it about the way he was like bouncing the ball? Was he, climbing a tree? I mean, what was it?
Well, that happened my senior year. I mean, I always was great friends with Sean.
Yeah,
we played basketball. We
Mm-hmm.
both played basketball for South Haven High School. So we were both Chargers, same grade. My dad put up a basketball goal, and we had mutual friends that lived on my street, and we just played all the time, all summers long, night and day. But I really started liking him when I was a senior in high school. I was just attracted to really how tall he was because I'm almost 6 feet tall.
He's tall.
And there wasn't very many boys taller than me then. And he was just a great guy. And we just really hit it off. So that was 18. But when he accepted the Lord, like I said, 21. And I just saw him transform his life. Sean started making wiser choices and just doing things that were to me out of the ordinary, but now are something that I understand because I accepted him at 23. Sean and I was 24. We got married at 23, and Sean was taking Evangelism Explosion at Bellevue just to further his faith and learn how to share the gospel. And he would go over that with me to help him study. And at one point, that question, if you were standing before God and he asked you, why should I let you into my heaven? Why should I let you into heaven? I always thought because I do good things. I'm a good person. My good outweighs my bad. And he also used an illustration about, an airplane. You can believe in airplanes flying in the sky, but it's another thing to trust the airplane with your life, the way you trust Jesus. And he just asked me, have I ever really accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior? And I couldn't honestly say yes up until that point. So I did. And I was 8 months pregnant with our first daughter, Michaela. So at 8 months pregnant with her, I was 24 is when I accepted the Lord.
Wow.
and very nervous about being baptized. I could play ball all day in front of people, but I didn't like going public and talking and public speaking. So being called to preach the first year of our marriage was very scary. But the Lord has worked that out for me.
And now he's drug you on the radio
right,
station.
There you
giving
go.
me the confidence. So I was baptized after our the year before my second child was born. So the following year I was baptized, and God's had me on a fast forward roller coaster ever since. So
You mentioned Michaela, and she's the oldest.
right.
And Michaela, is she a junior?
She's actually a ninth grader.
She's a ninth?
Yes.
To look at her, she's 6 feet tall.
Well,
so.
not just because of her size, but because, I mean, she's incredible with video and the things she does.
Yes, she is.
But, okay, so Michaela's the oldest. She's in ninth grade. And then take me from the rest of the clan.
I have Isaac, who will be 13 next month. So almost 13. 11-year-old Grace and 9-year-old David.
Wow. So there's never a boring moment in the Abram home at all. Okay.
Never. Except, coming out of the kid's mouth. And I'm like, are you really bored? Because I can find you something to do. So.
Well, and I want to tell our YouTube family that this family also has their own YouTube channel, and it's called Life in the Hamp. Is that right?
That's it. Life in the Hamp.
We're talking about Binghamton, which is one of the communities kind of been close to the Midtown area. Just kind of east of the Memphis Zoo, East Parkway, in that area. We've got Life in the Hamp with the Abrams, and I encourage you to go to their channel. I guess that's called Life in the Hamp?
Yeah, it's called Life in the Hamp.
Yeah.
That's HAMP.
Yeah, HAMP. Go to that, and you're going to see these kids. You're going to see some incredible videos. They have so much fun.
Yes.
Amen.
And I always enjoy. I'm a subscriber, so I get to keep up with you guys, on that. So I encourage our other friends watching on my YouTube channel right now to go and check that out. But, Sean, what Mary was saying just now about growing up Parkway Village, her family went to church, but she didn't really have a relationship with Christ. And then she just was, living life, going to school and, doing things with her parents and family, and of course you guys were hanging out, but you had an opportunity to influence her, because of your love for Christ as being a Christ follower. And that's really what we want to talk about today. It's kind of the foundation. It's ironic that we kind of started off that way, because that's really the foundation of what we want to talk about today.
Yes.
And it's called City Reach. And I know, in addition, you guys are pastoring the Binghamton Community Church there in Binghamton, as we mentioned, and some incredible ministry opportunities. We've had some of your members on telling just heartbreaking stories of transformation and things that have happened. One of your members that her son, she had been praying for her son that was addicted to drugs and living a life of crime. And he shows up one Sunday just unexpectedly and comes and talks to you after the service, gives his life to Christ. The very next day, he's shot, killed across the street from the church.
Yes.
And so, you guys got some challenges, some blessings, and they're all mixed there together, but God's up to some great things.
Yes, he really is. And he's showing us each and every day, his face, and we understand this, and this is what we've grown to understand in 10 years in Binghamton. When it comes down to that, it's Christ within us. It's the only way to live life. That's the only way that you can do it day in, day out. Seeing some of the brokenness that we see each day, but it's Christ within us. It's the encouragement when we see him and we see God moving in a mighty way, in our community, but also all over our city, but then also over the state. Yeah. We see God I believe that God he's always up to something, but I can see it.
And that's what this City Reach is all about. It really is not just in our community, but it's across the entire state of Tennessee, of churches coming together, partnering for the purpose of getting to know each other, working together, because we are the body of Christ. We have a tendency sometimes to let the physical walls of the church to divide us, right, and keep us in our own little world. But God has this bigger picture of the church. This universal, it's the body of Christ. And across the state of Tennessee, we have our brothers and sisters in Christ in churches that the City Reach is designed for us to partner together, so we can do ministry together and see the gospel come to every person right here in our community.
Yeah, and it goes back to just John 17. I want to read that. John 17, 21. We'll start at verse 20. It says, I do not ask for these only, but also for those who will believe in me through their word. that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they also may be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. The glory that you have given me, I have given to them, that they may be one, even as we are one. I and them and you and me, that they may become perfectly one, so that the world may know that you sent me and love them, even as you love me. So it's the call of the church to unify and to move forward together. This is the way God has designed, kingdom work, so that we're all on the same team. We're working together for one goal and one cause. And City Reach is a part of that, unifying churches to help churches to reach every home with the gospel.
Wow. And what a wonderful, and that's really the mandate of Christ, to go into all the world, and preach the gospel. And that is something that the church has been doing now for well over 2,000 years. And we've seen, followers from every nation. That's our desire. And of course, as we do that, we're seeing from every nation here, because of all the melting pot that we see in our city of diversity in ethnic groups and people that we knock on doors. And we welcome that. We're excited to be able to welcome people from all nations here, and even our own community, to be able to share the good news of Christ, what he's done for us. Okay, so you guys, Mary, I believe, have been given recently this position of coordinator. So you guys are actually coordinating City Reach for this area. Is that correct?
That's correct. We were brought on by the Mid-South Baptist Association to facilitate Mission 901, which is a ministry that helps recruit and facilitate mission teams in our area, helps find projects, places to stay, things for them, ways for them to serve. But City Reach is the goal through the Tennessee Baptist Mission Board for 2019 and 2020. Memphis is the target city for this purpose, to partner churches together, to bring teams to Memphis, to share the gospel all over the state. But we'll take them from wherever. It doesn't have to be the state of Tennessee. It can be whoever wants to come in the name of City Reach to reach our city. Yeah,
because we've got listeners right now. As you mentioned, you grew up in South Haven.
Yes.
But, I mean, you spent time in Memphis. And so we've got listeners, of course, North Mississippi, Arkansas, Boot Hill, Missouri. I mean, I even had a caller one time from Longview, Texas. So if you're down in Texas listening, come on up here to Memphis. We can use your help.
Yes.
So really, City Reach has organized some projects, and I've got a list of them right here. And now these projects some will be ongoing, and some will be targeted for specific periods of the year, like summer. I'm looking right now, and there's quite a few summer, obviously, because kids are out of school, and they can come. Is that right, Mary?
Right. Lots of our community centers also, provide daycare for children. And through that, there's opportunities to go in. You can read to them. You can help serve lunch. You can do all kinds of projects with them, put on sports camps. But those kids are there every day from like 8 to 4. And all our community centers are full of these kids, and a lot of our ministries have connections with those community centers. So yes, there's a lot of that going on during the summer.
Now, as I mentioned, some of the ongoing type projects, here's one, for example, a church runs a thrift store that helps supports 15 ministries. The church needs help going through donated items, tearing down a wall in the store, going to pick up items, and teams will have an opportunity to serve with some of their ministries that they serve as well. So really, you're given definitely specifics, and I can see this now. This is open. There's not just, when we mentioned youth, but I mean, we might have some grandmas out there that can sort through clothes at a thrift store.
Oh yeah, that particular project is through the Helping People God's Way thrift store. This couple, Keith and Carol Chikalis, actually go to High Point, and they run that thrift store, and they give so much of what they make away to, I think now it's up to 15 ministries, one of them being ours. And they are just on fire for the Lord, love giving, and just God keeps blessing them with this overflow of things. And they need all types of help sorting. They need, like it said, but moving the wall out of the way to give them more room. And anybody can do that. It doesn't matter your age or whatever. There's projects for any age group.
Yeah, and especially even with, I think we're gonna do there's a senior expo that's coming up.
Yes.
Just talking with our elderly saints, the importance that they play within the strategy that God has called all of us to accomplish, which is to reach, our city, but also our state, but also our, our world for the cause of Christ. So it could be prayer driving. Prayer is vital. God through prayer is vital in the movement of what he's doing within our lives. So, no matter how old you are, young or old, when it comes down to prayer and depending upon God and helping and to guide and just love on people. God he has a mission for all of us. There's no time for any of us to turn around or to stop.
Yeah. Because
the call is so great.
Yes, it is.
It is so great, but God has called each of us to play a part. That's why I believe that City Reach is a portion of just, helping, believers to help believers to reach the gospel, to reach the city with the gospel, our churches to help churches to reach our city with the gospel. And there's so many ways that we can do that. And it is done, together.
Yes.
With a heart that's patterned after God.
We mentioned, Sean and Mary, that the call is great, and it is. And I was just thinking about that verse. I think it's in Hebrews. It says, let us lay aside the things that entangle us.
That's it.
And weigh
12.
us down. And boy, it's just kind of convicting in my own life because I see, it's so easy to get entangled and caught up in my own affairs, in my own life. And remember, as a Christ follower, I have a higher calling. It is a high call. It's a thing that, you look at the scriptures when you read about Paul, taking beatings and going without food and shipwrecks, and you read a list of things that he went through for the cause of the gospel. And guys, we don't even come close to any of those things for the most part here in Memphis, Tennessee. Maybe some ridicule from somebody for talking about Jesus, or people don't want to hear that, but we don't really pay that kind of cost, And so, that's really kind of convicting to think about. God does have this call on us, and we need to answer it.
And that's it. And that's sitting at his feet each and every day, hearing what's on, God's heart, and then doing what's on his heart, and giving that offering, like the offering of Abel, or instead of the offering that Cain gave, like Cain gave what he thought, but Abel gave what God wanted. So sitting at his feet to give God what he wants, which is us, our lives, our relationship. But then also doing it together is what he's saying. Kingdom work. We're all on the same team.
Yes.
Unified together. So it's a humbling of who we are as he gives us strength, because it's by his power, but it's through a relationship with him.
Yes.
And we love him, and then we love our neighbors, and we get people involved, and we walk this thing out together.
Wow. Mary, I kind of was curious for you. You mentioned earlier that Sean's kind of just drug you a lot of places in a good sense. This has been a journey that started, you were talking about how fast it's been.
Oh, yes.
Did you ever imagine that you would be living in the neighborhood of Binghamton community in Memphis, doing ministry the way you are, reaching the kind of people you are? When I say the kind of, because people, as I mentioned, drugs, all kinds of different, backgrounds and issues that they're, we hear sometimes on the news about crime in the community, places a lot of times people want to avoid. You've set your home up there. You're raising your kids there.
Yeah. Well, when I say Sean's drugging me around, I say that in a joking way. I know it's totally led by the Lord, and he has confirmed that so many times in just my experience in Binghamton. I wouldn't want to trade it for anything, and I don't want to be anywhere else but where he wants us to be. So with that being said, I'm trusting him to keep me safe in that community. Now, did I ever think I would be serving in a community like that? No. I can remember, a couple weeks before Sean told me that he felt the Lord was calling us to live there, I said, I was talking to my friends watching the news. I said, I will never live in Memphis again. That's just me, a mom with babies on my lap, and I think I was pregnant with a child. And, that's what I thought is I need to stay in the safest place, around, and stay here, never take my kids there. But that's kind of the opposite of what Jesus calls us to do. Yeah. He calls us to go out and, beyond our Jerusalem and reach people even some of the hardest people to reach. But I mean, and you can't reach them unless you're there.
Yeah.
You being a light among them.
Mary, you just said something that God has confirmed to you over and over again. And can you give us some examples of that? How he's confirmed those things?
Well, provision. When we left South Haven, we didn't have much money or very many plans. We just knew God was calling us there. And I tell you, ever since we've been there, He has been providing for us. He has provided everything we need, and we're just incredibly grateful for that. But not only that, the miracles I've get to see in transformations in people. We've seen prostitutes come to the Lord and who are now, 8 years clean, visiting our church when we have a women's event and telling them how the Lord rescued them and how He used us to help do that. We've seen families mended. We've seen moms, get up and say that I am going to trust the Lord and I'm going to, wait till I'm married and keep my purity and just do awesome things for the Lord. Like right now, the lady we had on the last broadcast, Carol Brown, she texted me this morning and she asked, could she be at the church at 12 o'clock today to pray? Because we have prayer every day from 12 to 1. So she wants to walk up there and be there to pray. And just little miracles like that people don't see as miracles. And sometimes being in a community like ours, it can get very discouraging. But God keeps showing us glimpses of how He's miraculously changing people and changing lives. So, and that even with my kids, they get to see a lot of while we're there. Yeah, it's tough and it's hard in some cases, but it's very clear to them why Jesus would have us there. They get to see us being used and them as well to reach people all over.
That's pretty powerful, Sean, Amen. When you think about your kids are now seeing you do life in Jesus, where He's called you and being faithful there. Like I said, it's not always easy,
right?
But that you're where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, and that's what they're seeing especially when she's talking about provision, because we just went full time again in there and in the community. So we're talking with them. We're letting them know that when we first started, we didn't have enough money to make it through the first month.
Yeah.
All right. But see, God, He knew. And then we've been letting them know that He's been doing the same thing again and again. So they're seeing it firsthand.
Yes.
So they're reading about it, but they're also seeing what ministry is all about. They're seeing the brokenness, because when we first moved there, it was 10 years ago. My oldest was 4. So that's kind of all they known. They grew up in the neighborhood, but they're seeing brokenness, but they're also seeing how God can redeem situations. They're seeing our frustrations, because we get frustrated in the community as well. But even through that, they're seeing us, turn and say, no, what's important? What's, how can we continue to move forward? So they're living it alongside of us, how to balance, a lot of discouragement, but also to see, God within that discouragement, but just excuse me, how God is honored and glorified through it all. So they're seeing it.
Yes, they are seeing it. Well, of course, City Reach Memphis, as it kicks off really this year,
2019.
It's now,
Is this going
now.
right now?
In Memphis, yeah.
In Memphis. Yeah. And I guess it'll move across the eastern part of the state as this thing progresses?
Yeah, it started in the east. So it started in Knoxville 4 years ago.
2017 and 2018 was Knoxville.
Okay.
And
2018 and 19 is Nashville. So Nashville is a target city as well as Memphis this year.
Yes.
Next year in 20 and 21 is Memphis and Chattanooga. And then it'll be Chattanooga to Clarksville.
Okay.
So there's 2-year increments, but 2019 and 2020 is Memphis.
Okay, now there's some meetings, I believe, too, if folks can participate and come to informational meeting. There's one for, I think, just pastors across the state coming together in February. Is that right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, February 5th, we're actually giving a vision tour, which you will be able to take a tour of.
So this isn't just pastors.
No, I mean, if you're a student pastor, if anybody from your church, it's just coming out and coming to see where you can serve. And I want to let you know with City Reach and through Mission 901, we have partnered with 4 churches here in the city of Memphis. The Monument of Love in Orange Mound, the Dwelling Place in Raleigh, Leewood Baptist Church off of Macon, close to us, and then First Baptist Fisherville. And these 4 locations will be able to house teams and also use teams. So you'll be able to set up, you're sleeping there. You'll be able to use the kitchen there, and they'll be able to help host you to be able to serve in the community. So you'll definitely see those
with
4
other
locations.
churches, with other churches
Right.
also.
And so,
Right.
but this vision tour coming up on February 5th. Now, where will folks get information on how to attend that? I mean, is it at your church, or where's the vision meeting going to be at?
The vision tour is going to start at First Baptist Fisherville.
Okay.
It starts around 8:30. You want to arrive, but if that's something you want to do, be sure to contact the Mid-South Baptist Association.
Okay. Is that the number here on the card?
Yeah, right there on the card.
Which is 901-373-6161.
Yes.
901-373-6161. Okay.
And if that's something you want to do, please sign up and let us know, because we'd love to serve you some delicious Memphis barbecue for lunch, and just know how many are coming. So we want to be able to provide transportation for everybody too. But you'll be able to tour 6 of our local churches, hear from the pastors, tour their facilities.
Look at that area.
And just see if the Lord is tugging on your heart, saying, hey, I do want to serve here. And this is what that'll look like. And you'll be able to ride along with us and hear about our experiences as well. So we'd love to have anyone that's interested to come out. You don't have to be a pastor. You don't have to be, in a title in your ministry. Just if you're planning a mission trip, come on.
Okay. And Sean, if you can't attend that meeting coming up on February 5th, but you still want to be involved, is there a website to go to or information you can get?
Yeah. You go ahead.
You can go to the Mission 901 Facebook page, but also email me at mission901@midsouthbaptist.com. And we will get you any information you need about trips and what it looks like coming to Memphis.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we're just asking everybody to just get in on what God is doing, because God is doing something. And God is calling us to do something, because when you see the brokenness and you see the hurt, you can't, not do something. God has called all of us to do something. We need to do it together. So,
yeah, doing it together.
Amen.
City Reach. Okay, now there is a website too, because across the state, as we mentioned, we got the Mid-South Baptist Association, but I was also going to mention City Reach, where you can get information. You can actually download these projects if you'd like to look at those. That's available on the website. And I don't know. Is that through the Tennessee Baptist Missions
Board? Yes.
The board.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look at
the
I was trying to look at the website to make sure I got the right website for that information, and I don't have it with me. I think you could probably. I just Googled City Reach.
Yeah, if you Google City Reach, the TBMB, it will show you.
It will come up, and you get that details. Wow. Anything else that we need to know about? There's another thing we're just going to kind of just mention briefly in April, I believe.
This is the Call to Missions. Is a conference that we're going to do a breakout session there about City Reach, so they can come to that and learn. But then there's also other, opportunities for them to hear about missions and what God is doing and how they can participate, because it is a call to missions for all of us to be a part of what God is doing.
So
that's April 29th at Faith Baptist. It'll be from 4:30 to 8:30.
Okay, Faith Baptist, April 29th.
Yeah.
4:30 to 8:30.
Yes, and it's a lot of people call it C2M, so Call to Missions Conference. We'd love to have you guys come out and just hear about how you can use a team, because our job is to help your church hear about how they can use a mission team, but also use an individual how you can reach your neighbors.
Yeah.
And
of course, the C2M conference is an annual thing.
Yes.
And it's great.
Right.
I mean, there's folks from all different opportunities, so I would encourage. That's in April. We'll get back together and do another show on
Sounds
that.
good. Yes,
so
sir.
we can. Well, guys, Abrams, God bless you. Thank you for what your whole family's doing for Christ's kingdom and the Binghamton community. And above now is the coordinators with City Reach, connecting with the entire state of Tennessee for the gospel's sake.
Yes.
Amen. Glory be to God. And I just wanted to put this out there also, as you, just pray, as you drive, pray through your city. Look at your city. Some of these places, within your city, stop, eat lunch, talk to the people, and your heart will begin to grow, just to be a part of what God is doing. So just always keep your eyes open, looking for God within.
Have you guys heard of the Red Snapper restaurant off of Fraser Boulevard?
We haven't.
I just picked it up on Instagram, and it's out in Fraser, and I want to go there. They said they've got just fresh food, and it looks so good on the pictures I saw.
Let's do it together, brother.
Maybe we can take some teams there.
Maybe we want to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought, because you're talking about visiting local,
Yes.
and so in our community. Wow. Hey, thanks again, friends. That's all the time we have on this edition of Mid-South Viewpoint. Thanks for stopping by. Also want to say thanks to our YouTube viewers for watching us on this program. Hope you guys will subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.